Pike County Massacre case to go to trial.
There are 8 victims, 4 crime scenes, and today centered around just one of those scenes.
Pike County Massacre trial of George Wagner IV, as the defendant's own mother takes the stand.
In the quiet hills of southern Ohio lies Pike County, a rural place where everybody knows everybody. The kind of town where doors are left unlocked and neighbors are treated like family. But in April of 2016, that peace was shattered in the most horrifying way. 8 members of the Rhoden family brutally murdered in one night across 4 separate homes. A calculated, cold-blooded massacre that left a community terrified and a nation stunned. What happened in Pike County? Who could have committed such a coordinated attack, and why? This is the story of the Pike County shootings. April 22nd, 2016. It started like any other day. But by morning's end, everything would change. At around 7:49 a.m., 911 received a call from a frantic relative of the Rhoden family. She had found 2 bodies at one of the family's trailers. As deputies arrived at the scene, what they found was a nightmare. Chris Rhoden Sr., the patriarch of the family, was shot multiple times in the head. Just nearby, his cousin Gary Rhoden lay dead. Both had been killed execution style. As officers checked on other Rhoden residences, the horror deepened. In total, 8 bodies were discovered, all family members, all shot in their beds, all with deadly precision. 3 young children were found alive at the crime scenes, miraculously unharmed. It was clear this wasn't random, this was personal, targeted, and terrifyingly efficient. The scale of the crime was overwhelming. 4 different crime scenes, no signs of forced entry, and no immediate suspects. Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine called it a sophisticated operation. The killer or killers had silenced dogs, disabled security systems, and used weapons fitted with suppressors. The message was clear. Someone had planned this, down to the second. Theories began to swirl. Was it a cartel hit? A drug operation gone wrong? Authorities revealed that marijuana grow operations had been found at 3 of the homes. Speculation ran wild. But the Rhodens weren't known criminals. They had no enemies, at least none that anyone knew of. As months passed without arrests, fear gripped Pike County. People armed themselves, installed security cameras, and slept with one eye open. Whoever did this was still out there. In the chaos of the crime scenes, investigators found small but crucial pieces of evidence. One was the discovery of custom-made suppressors on the murder weapons. That detail pointed to someone with knowledge of firearms and a motive to kill quietly. Another clue emerged from the victims themselves. In particular, Hannah Mae Rhoden. Hannah was just 19. She had a young daughter, and at the time of her death was engaged in a bitter custody battle with a man named Jake Wagner. Jake was the father of Hannah's child. The 2 had once been close, but their relationship soured. Hannah wanted full custody. Jake and his family, especially his mother, Angela Wagner, disagreed. In the days before her death, Hannah texted a friend that she feared Jake would try to take her daughter away by force. That fear, tragically, may have been justified. The Wagners were another Pike County family. Jake Wagner, his brother George, their mother Angela, and father Billy. On the surface, they were quiet and private, but behind the scenes, investigators were beginning to zero in on them. Over the next 2 years, authorities collected over 1,100 tips, conducted hundreds of interviews, and seized dozens of electronic devices. Slowly, a picture began to form. Text messages, GPS data, surveillance footage, financial records, it all painted a disturbing story. In November 2018, 2.5 years after the murders, Ohio authorities made a stunning announcement. 4 members of the Wagner family were arrested and charged with all 8 murders. The charges included aggravated murder, conspiracy, tampering with evidence, and forgery. The alleged motive? Custody. The Wagners didn't want to lose control over Jake's daughter, so they decided to eliminate the entire Rhoden family. The case against the Wagners was strong, but it would take years before the truth came out. In April 2021, Jake Wagner pleaded guilty to all charges. In a shocking courtroom confession, he admitted to personally killing 5 of the 8 victims, including Hannah May, the mother of his child. As part of the plea deal, Jake agreed to testify against the rest of his family, his brother George, his mother Angela, and his father Billy. Angela Wagner also pleaded guilty, admitting to her role in planning the murders and helping cover them up. She claimed she didn't pull the trigger, but she helped make it all happen. Then in 2022, Billy Wagner went to trial. He pleaded not guilty. The final piece fell in late 2022, when George Wagner IV was convicted on all charges and sentenced to life without parole. The Pike County shootings left deep scars on the community. The Rhoden family was shattered, friends were devastated, and the entire town lived in fear for years before justice was served. The fact that an entire family, parents, children, and even a teenager were killed over a custody dispute was almost beyond belief. 3 children were left without parents, an entire family line nearly erased. And what made it even worse was that it was done by people they once considered family friends. The Pike County Massacre was one of the most brutal, premeditated killings in Ohio's history. It wasn't the work of strangers or organized crime. It was a betrayal, deeply personal and coldly calculated. 8 lives lost, 4 lives imprisoned forever, and a town haunted by what happened in the early hours of April 22, 2016. Sometimes the real monsters don't come from the shadows. Sometimes they come from right next door. This was the story of the Pike County shootings.